Jawaballs!
You probably won't finish in the middle of class. Okay, good morning.
Morning.
I'm talking on my video. You be quiet over there. This is my next video on making banners. I have some of my helpers over here today in my class. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
I can't put them on camera for legal reasons, but there's some kids in here working on some stuff. And what I want to show you today is this. I am making this banner. This is the Blood Angels chapter banner. I've already made the Blood Angel Second Company banner. There it is. And I've already made the Furioso Dreadnought banner, which is there. So I am going to make now this banner, the Blood Angels chapter banner. Very different banner because it's on red fabric and it's a whole lot more detailed. So let's show you what I have. Here it is. The first thing I had to do was have the banner made. So I got a bunch of red fabric, two colors of red, and I can't sew. So I had a friend of mine sew me the banner. This thing is like 7 feet long or so. You're also quiet. They're also quiet over there. And so I had her sew me the banner to the exact proportions that are on that picture right there. This is a printout from the old Blood Angels Codex. So there's the banner itself. She did a really beautiful job sewing the fabric for me. Then on a piece of canvas, I cut out the image size. I cut out the rectangular shape. Here it is. I painted the outsides yellow, and then I went in after painting the inside black and laid down my guidelines. You can see there's Sanguinius' head, the grail. So after that, I've started working on laying down some basic some undercolor, some deep reds for the robes, laying down some color for the wings. So there it is. The birth of a banner. Alright, I'll be taking some pictures and I'll be adding some more video as I work on this. More to come. Here's my banner. I have laid in more color. I went over that first red I put down. I used some cheaper base coat paint, and now I busted out my expensive paints here to do the real painting. I use Grumbacher Academy acrylic paint. Very expensive, about 10 bucks a tube. And very expensive compared to Gabe's Workshop paint? No. That's probably the most expensive paint per ounce in the world. But anyway, so I busted out my good paints, and I started laying in color over my base color. I laid in some alizarin crimson over my reds to help to start create depth, and you can see the depth of the fold starting to take place. Letting the base coat show through and laying the alizarin crimson over the darker areas where the shadows are going to be. I went in with some brown. And then the wings, I put down a dark gray first, and then mixed some white into my gray, and just went through and put a layer of lighter gray down the wings. I will do 3 or 4 more layers of gray, using less and less paint as I go, and then finally the last layer will be white. By the time I get to white, there'll be hardly any white. It'll be mostly grays, but it'll be shades, and it'll look like wings. So there it is. That's my And as far as painting the face, I'm not going to try and actually paint the face because it's not really a face. We know it's a face, but I just laid down areas of color to resemble a face. A couple of weird shapes for the eyes and nose, and then brown for the rest. There it is. And there's the banner itself. Now when this is done, it's on canvas, so it's like fabric. When I'm done with this, I will sew it onto here, and then I have to make the bottom part, the Blood Angels sign, and the other little details here. And I'll make those out of canvas as well, and I'll sew those on. So there he is, Sanguinius. Alright, more to come. Okay, so now I am layering in more red onto his robes. And I'm not using cadmium red. And this is actual cadmium red. Cadmium is a rare metal used in colors, but the problem is it's poisonous. So in most cases you won't find true cadmium. You will find a cadmium red hue, which is synthetic. It doesn't use the actual metal, but it copies the color. What's the difference? I don't know. But this is what I'm using. Cadmium red. The red gives a nice rich brilliance, which is what I'm layering in. I've got a couple layers of I've got cadmium red and a cadmium red light. So so over my alizarin crimson, I'm layering in cadmium red to create this rich layered fabric. You can kind of see the folds starting to develop. So what I do is I paint with the cadmium red. I'll drag it down on one of the ridges of the fold. Here's a ridge. Just drag it down on the ridges and then kind of dab it back in. This is called scumbling. Over the dark part, just to kind of blend it in a little. I'm not all that concerned about the rest of the stuff. If I mess it up, I can always go back and fix it. Like the banner scroll here. You know, I'll just go back and touch it up afterwards. I just kind of worry about painting for now. So right now I'm just highlighting the edges of the robe, just like you would for power armor. You put highlights on the edges of the power armor. Same thing applies when you're painting drapes and robes. The brightest parts are going to be on the edges that are close to you in space, and the recessed areas are going to be darker. So you see a darker red there. My painting technique is very Renaissance. In case you don't know, this is a very Michelangelo kind of painting style that I use. This scumbling layering. Of course, he would use hundreds and hundreds of layers, and I'm using just a couple. But it's a very Renaissance. It's also very Rembrandt. Rembrandt did a lot of this scumbling and layering too, in a different way from Michelangelo. And Leonardo da Vinci also did some of this kind of style. The Sistine Chapel. You know, go take a look at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and you'll see a lot of this kind of. They did it on fresco, but you'll see a lot of that style that I use. Am I Michelangelo? No, but I do draw a lot of influence from those guys in my artistic painting. So there it is. This is the first light highlight on Sanguinius's robe. So what I'll do now is just go in, and wherever I need it to be even richer, I'll keep reapplying that highlight just to make it stand out even more with the cadmium red medium. And when I'm ready, I'll switch to a lighter shade of cadmium red. Maybe I'll add in some lighter red to this. But you never really, you don't add light to dark. You can't really add a lighter color to a darker color. You can, but it is counterproductive because you can always add more dark, but you can never lighten it up. Is that how it works? It takes a lot less dark to modify your color than it does light. So when you're dealing with expensive paints, always start with your light color and add dark to it to make it the color that you want. I'm confusing myself. I think you can understand what I'm saying though. Yeah. Alright, so there it is. Cadmium red. Bringing out these highlights. Making his robes kind of pop. More to come.